Hello everyone and welcome back to Handy Dandy Living. In today's video, we're going to work through the 5-step solution in a debt snowball payoff activity. So this is part 2 of how to pay off debt on a low income video. If you haven't seen part 1 with the 5-step solution, I have added it at the end of this video. Alright everyone, so as promised, here is the little breakdown activity of our debt summary and debt payoff or budget plan. And so here is the book that we use, and we kept our debt summary and our budgets. We kept that in here, and we also kept anything like old cards that we didn't fully close out at the time. We kept those in here, receipts, different things like that. So I did mark out our name, put this little piece of tape here to mark out our name just because of privacy reasons. All right, so let's get to it. So here is our debt summary. And with your debt summary, as we stated in the 5-step solution, with the debt summary, you want to make sure that you list every item of debt that you have. Again, at the time, we were trying to do the baby step system with Dave Ramsey, so that's why we have more than just our credit cards listed. But again, all we are looking at is credit card debt, paying off credit card debt. Okay, so here is every line item of debt we have listed, and we did this for every single month. Every time we did a debt summary, you list your line items of debt, every single one of them, and then you will list the amount beside it. So before we go into more detail of this debt summary, we're going to look at our budget, because you need to do your budget and see what numbers you're working with your income before you can do a reasonable or create a reasonable short-term and long-term goal. Okay, so let's look at our budget. And you don't have to, you make it as pretty as you want or as simple as you want. Either way, the main point is that it's getting done. You're writing it down so that you can make it plain, simple. The whole point is to write it down. Okay, so make it work for you. So here's our first actual budget sit down after our first month. So September, at this point we feel like we kind of got our groove going. So September of 2018, here's our budget. And first, you see, as we talked about, we list all of the items that we have to pay out, or all of our bills. And as stated in the 5-step system, what we did, we listed the bills that we get paid out to the company first, to companies. And then we will list bills that we have that are necessity, but they're not getting paid to, they're not necessarily getting paid out to a company. So that would be things like groceries, toiletries, miscellaneous things. And we also have planned to go to a trip this month or for the next month. So we were budgeting for this. And that was our homecoming. And so as you see listed here in the envelopes, these are the things that are not paid out to a company. They are things that you need to pay. And in this case, for the homecoming, of course, that is a want. But anywho, that was our one trip of that year. But these are the things that need to be paid, that are not paid to a company. So this is why we put these in envelopes. And ideally, what you would do with these is, the bills that are paid to the company, those are must. They have to happen. So if you are maybe short on money, see what you need to pay out, add all of the bills up that go to a company, and see where you are. And then that can tell you if you need to add, if you're able to add more money to your budget for your envelopes, or if you need to subtract some. So again, this is our second time doing this at this point, because we did it for August, and so we had a roundabout idea of what we needed or could spend on our envelopes. So for groceries, we had 80, and that's together and in parentheses. If there's something in parentheses, because there's 2 of us, my husband and I, we split it up, and so that's what would be the amount in parentheses that each individual would pay. So that would mean that we would pay $40 each for groceries. Toiletries, we have 30, so that would be 15 each. Miscellaneous, for me, I put my initial, and so 161. Again, we already ran through the numbers some. 161 is a very odd number, and that's because that's just what was left over to go into that envelope. Miscellaneous, 100 for my husband. Male, female. Females tend to have more, and this is kind of off topic, but, well, not really, but just keep in mind, if you do have a spouse that you're doing this budget with, some things may be a little different for male versus female as far as like feminine care and things like that. So just keep that in mind when you get to planning about those things. But also know that in our miscellaneous, gas is included in that. So again, our homecoming, the most we wanted this, we had a number that we wanted to spend on that, and because we knew that we had goals of trying to pay off debt, we kept our spending very low. Okay. And so here you see listed, you have on one side, you list yours. If you have a spouse, on one side you can list your income, and then on the other side you can list, your income and your bills. And then on the other side you can list your spouse's income and their bills. If you are single, then, or you don't have anyone to share bills with, then you can just focus on listing your own bills and so on. So I did not list my husband's bills. I did not list my husband's information just because he's not the one wanting to do this video. It's me. And so I don't feel like that would be fair, because I think that's kind of personal. So here you will list your income. That's what will go at the top. You will list your income. And then beside every bill amount, you will list how much that bill is to the cent. So you want to be very specific, because if not, then your numbers will be off. So you list this amount. You list the amount for each one going down. And again, as you see here at the bottom, we have the envelope bills, okay? So as you can see from my income, once you add all this together and subtracting everything, from my income, this is what I have left over for the snowball, to throw to the snowball. And so the first item that I'm attacking at this point, after we paid off my husband's items, the next item is the Discover card for me. And so I was already paying the minimum. You always pay the minimum on your debt. No more than the minimum, unless it is the item that you are attacking with the snowball method. So here I was paying $50. So this is what I had left over, $424.42. You add that to the $50, and this is what you get for your snowball, $474.42. And that's how the snowball method works. So now we will go back to our goals and our debt summary. As you can see, we have every line item listed here for my husband and I, and we have each month listed. So normally when we do the debt summary, we have the present month, and then we have the previous month, so that we can reflect on how we did. At the end, I will show you a progression of the months from July to February, which again, we did not truly start this until August of 2018. So if you see here in July, we have all our items of debt listed. Here we have paid. This paid amount, we did not have thousands of dollars sitting around in our account. This was actually a gift payoff. So that's why I said that we didn't start truly until August of 2018, where we started paying off debt with the snowball method. So here you can see in August, we were able to pay 3 line items off. And as you can see, they were from my husband's debt because they were the lowest. So you start again with the snowball method. You pick the line items that are the smallest and you pay those off and work your way up each time. So we pay this off first here, and then he's able to go to the next bill, which would be his Wells Fargo bill, and I'm able to go to, and as you can see on the budget, that I am working towards paying off the Discover bill. And so here you can see the difference in the total in July, the difference between the total of July and the total for August. So ideally you want to see these amounts, your total debt amount, go down each month. And so I think this was pretty good how we started out. So along with your debt summary, and I know y'all are sick of me shaking this pen. I'm sorry, I can't help it. But along with the debt summary, you want to make sure that you have your short-term goals and your long-term goals. And what we did, we will reflect each month that we did this. We will reflect if we were on track, if the goal was completed, or if we weren't on track. And then, as you can see here, we have August new goals listed because we had to revise some goals. So you never know, maybe you might pay off something earlier than expected, as my husband did, and so he had to revise his goal because he paid off things earlier. Or it may be taking longer than what you thought to pay something off, so maybe that's the reason why you need to revise your plan. And so here we had short-term goal, pay Discover by August 2018. That was my goal, and my husband's goal, short-term goal, was pay GameStop by October 2018. And as you can see, he completed this by August. So that's why he had to create a new plan. Here you can see August is the true month that we actually started this process and began to pay on the debt Snowball. So you can see the progression from here up to February 2019. And each month we were paying things off. And I think that it is very good. One, writing it down, it helps you to, it's a form of commitment to me. Writing it down is a form of commitment. It's a way to keep up with what you're doing. It's a checks and balance system. You need to write it down. If you don't write it down, it's probably not going to happen. The point is, you need to write it down. And with me personally, writing it down, I felt very good when I was able to write down paid. And each month I see more and more blue lines. So also, if you can notice, if you haven't noticed, I am a color-coded type of person. I like to see things in different colors. To me, blue is good. Red is, debt. For me, that's the colors I use. Use the colors that you want to use. Make it work for you. You don't have to use the same colors. You don't even have to use different colors. You can use all black if you want to. Just make it work for you. The point is, we want to get it on paper. We want to track this. And again, some people don't want to do paper. If you want this in digital form, that's fine too. The point is that we need to get this down, and we need to track our progress with paying off this debt. So this is essentially what we did. All right, so now we're going to go to the working activity. And so the example that I will use is the one that I used in the part 1 video with the credit cards, 4 credit cards having a $1,000 credit amount that were used to 100%. And so we're going to use that with our example. So once you get ready to look at your Snowball amount that you can throw to your debt, you are doing this after you have done the 4 previous steps to the 5-step solution that we discussed in the part 1 video. So after you've done all of those steps, step number 5 is to figure out how much you have for your debt Snowball. And so here with this example, we're going to use a person whose take-home pay is for bill meaning the company paid bills and the bills for the necessities that go in the envelope. That total amount is $3,900. So in order for us to get how much get the amount that we have left over for the Snowball debt payoff, we have to subtract $3,900 from $40,000, and with that we get $100 left. So we have $100 left for the Snowball debt payoff. And so with these credit cards, we have a minimum payment of $25 to all cards. So all cards, there are 4 credit cards. They all have been used to the max, which was $1,000. And the minimum that we have to pay on these cards is $25. Now remember, when you have a minimum payment, no matter what those bills are, you need to make sure that you're able to make at least the minimum payment. And when you're doing the Snowball debt, you choose the line item, the debt item that has the least amount. And in this case, because all the cards have the same amount, we're just going to start with the first one, card number 1. But if you have different amounts, remember to choose the item that has the smallest amount, and then you will work your way up or work your way through based on least to greatest. And so with the Snowball debt payoff, it's kind of like how a snowball is if you were to ball up a snowball or make a snowball and then you place it on the ground, and as you add more snow to it, it gets larger and larger. So we may start out with just $100 left over to pay to the debt, but as you continue to pay cards off, the more or the larger amount you may have to throw to debt, as long as nothing changes with your income. And so we're just going to work through this activity so that we can see that here and how it works, and how as you gain momentum, the time that it will take to pay these cards off should decrease. Okay, so we have card number 1, $1,000. Remember, we're going to, now, let me just say that I'm not a mathematician, so in some ways, the way I'm doing the math, it may not make sense to you. You may say, hey, you got this in the parentheses, and according to this formula, this should be done first and this should be done first. Please just walk with me, okay? So we have a $25 minimum payment. So I'm going to put min over that because we had the minimum payment. So we're already going to be paying the $25. Plus, we're going to be paying the $100 because that's what we have for the debt payoff. So we're going to add $100 to that. And when we get that, we get $125. So we have $125 to pay to this card. Now, we have $1,000. So I'm going to put this division symbol here because we're going to do 125, and I know this equal sign is probably bothering you because it's right here. But we're going to divide 125 into 1,000, or 1,000 by 125. And so what you get, and I probably should get a calculator. We're going to do 1,000 divided by, where's the division symbol? There we go. Divided by 125. And we have 8. So that would mean 8 months. So we have our time frame for paying off card number 1. And so I'm going to do 1,000 divided by, just because I'm pretty sure this probably bothers someone the way I had this written. And so I'll try to do card number 2 a little bit better. 1,000 divided by 125 equals 8 months. As we discussed in the part 1 video, the key is to get out of debt as fast as you can. So looking at this, 8 months to pay off a $1,000 card, that's reality for many people. But if you want to decrease the payoff time, what we may have to look at is seeing if we have to get another job, seeing if there's other ways to decrease our bill amounts, cancel some subscriptions. There are different things that you can do to try to increase what you have to throw to your debt snowball. So We're going to work with this as if nothing has happened. The information that we have listed in the scenario, it is what it is. So we're going to keep working through as if we have the same amount of take-home pay and nothing has changed. Okay, so 8 months to pay off card number 1. So now we're going to go to card number 2. So what we have to contribute to card number 2 is a $25 minimum payment, because we're making minimum payments on all cards regardless of the amount, no more, no less. But now that we're on card number 2 and we've canceled out card number 1, it is paid. And I'm just gonna put paid here. Paid off, 8 months is paid off. Okay, so card number 2, the minimum payment, $25. Then we have $100 that we were paying to the debt Snowball. We had that left over, so I'll put left on top of the $100. Plus, because now we had $25 that we were paying as a minimum payment on card number 1, we no longer have card number 1, so now we have another $25 from card number 1. So I'll put extra because that is extra. And so maybe I'll put extra 1 because it's coming from card number 1. That way we don't get confused with the extras. So now we have to add all of this up. And so 100 plus 25, 125, 150. So we get 150. And I'm just going to write that small under here. And so now we have 1,000 divided by 150. So now our debt Snowball has increased $25. To some it may not be much, but as you can see, it's increasing, and that's going to help with our payoff time. So now we have a bigger Snowball. So now we're going to do the math. Let's get the calculator out because we want to make sure that we're accurate. And so we're going to do 1,000 divided by 150. 150. And that is 6.5-ish months, okay? So we're going to put 6.6. And I'll put a plus, 6.6 plus months. So, as you can see, we've gone from it taking 8 months to pay off a $1,000 card to it now taking under 7 months. Okay, so I'm going to highlight that. All right, and now we have paid off card number 2, and we're moving on to card number 3. So, we have our $25 minimum payment that we were already paying, plus the 100 that we had left over from the debt Snowball, left, plus the 25 that we have from card number 1, so extra 1, and now we've paid off card number 2, so we're going to do plus an additional $25 from card number 2. And when we add this all up, 125, 150, 175. And so we have our equation. We have $1,000 divided by 175. So again, our debt Snowball has increased. And we're going to get ready to do the math. 1,000, yes, 3 zeros, divided by 175 equals 5.7 months. So just shy under 6 months. 5.7 months paid off. So as you continue to do the debt Snowball, it is very easy for most people, I should say. It's very easy to continue to be motivated because the time, the payoff time, it continues to decrease. are at car number 4. $25 minimum payment plus the $100 that we had left over plus the 25 extra from car number 1. So we're gonna put X1 plus $25 from car number 2, X2, plus another $25 from car number 3, X. X again, it stands for extra, or it's for extra. It's just for short. Okay, so when we add all of this together, we have 100, 125, 150, 175, $200. All right. I'm gonna verify on the calculator. Yes. And so now we have $1,000 divided by our debt snowball of $200. And I just realized that I'm not putting the dollar sign here. It might bother some of you, so I'm going to add it now. There we go. All right. Divided by 200,000 divided by 200. Let's see how long that payoff will take. 1,000 divided by 200 equals, and I know that was simple math, but I want to see, and we're going to continue with the calculator because that's what we've been doing. So 5 months to pay off card number 4. 5 months to pay off. Okay, so if we're curious to know, just to see how long it would take, and just so you know, what you could do if you were looking at this and working backwards at the beginning of your debt payoff before you even start on card number 1, if you were curious to see how long it would take you to pay off all of these cards, to see if you wanted to make some adjustments to get the payoff time to be shorter, you could do this math ahead of time. Again, it's not good to hope and wish, but just so that you can have an idea of how long it would take, you could do this ahead of time and see that you would have 8 months plus 6 plus months, 5.7 months plus 5 months. When you get that total, we can do it here to see how long it would take us to pay off the entire 4 cards, the entire amount on all 4 cards. So we'll do it here. And we have 8 months. So we're going to do 8 plus 6.6 plus 5.7 plus 5 months equals 25.3. So we know here, as we can see, it would take over 2 years to pay off these credit cards of $1,000. And so if you know the timeline that you're working with, it's up to you to decide if you want it to, if you're okay with that payoff time, or if you want to decrease your payoff time. If you did not get a chance to watch part 1, please go see part 1 to this video, because it will make sense so that you can have the 5-step solutions to get to this activity, or to get to working through your debt snowball payoff. I hope that this was helpful. Please remember that nobody is perfect. No one makes the same exact amount of money. No one has the same family structure. So this will look different for each person, each individual, each family. So please understand that. Don't be too hard on yourself. The whole point is that you need to get started. And you can do it, even if that means that you're paying off $1 If you pay off $1 towards a line of debt, that is fine. Maybe next month you'll be able to pay off 5 and keep going. So don't worry about how fast or slow you're doing it, looking at yourself or comparing yourself to the next person. Stay in your own lane, stay in your own race, and do it as fast as you can do it. I hope that this was helpful. Thank you all for listening. I'll see you in the next video.